CTV News U.S. political analyst Eric Ham joins us now from Washington with more. Eric, good to see you this afternoon. Let's just talk about how the White House is positioning what has happened in the last 12 to 14 hours about Canada rescinding this DST. Trade talks are back on. The White House saying that it seems as though Canada caved in. Is that the narrative really playing out in the U.S.?
That certainly is the narrative that we are going to see this White House continue to push, that they caved. And of course, we heard from Carolyn Levitt, not only did she say that they caved, but of course, Donald Trump being the best negotiator in the world. And so now this is also about a zero-sum game. There are winners and there are losers. And clearly what the administration wants to project is that they are winning and it is Canada that is losing.
The Prime Minister spoke about 5 minutes ago, Eric, over here, confirming that trade talks are back on. He had a chat with the President over the telephone yesterday. Counterparts of Secretary Besson, François-Philippe Champagne, also spoke as they commenced these trade talks once again. Any indications of what transpired in the phone calls? Are we hearing anything from the White House? What did the President have to tell the Prime Minister?
That's a really good question. We did not get any indication from the press briefing just now in terms of what was actually said in these phone calls. And more importantly, if there was some trading that actually took place as to why or how the Prime Minister actually decided to eliminate this tax. Of course, we know the president certainly could have put this on the table before making a big performance of walking away from trade talks. But now that these conversations are ongoing again, I think we'll have to wait and see exactly what deal, if any, actually comes out of this. But look, we knew that this was always going to be a very short window, and it was also going to be very, very difficult for the Prime Minister to get this over the finish line, particularly given how we know performative and mercurial the president can be.
Eric, I request you to stay with us. Let's take a listen into what the Prime Minister said about 5 minutes ago, and I'll come back to you for more.
Last night I had a good conversation with President Trump, and we agreed to recommence our negotiations with a view to the 21st of July deadline that we had agreed in. Kananaskis, Ministers Champagne and LeBlanc had conversations with their counterparts as well. We've restarted the discussions this morning.
All right, that's the comment coming in from the Prime Minister, in which he also said by July 21st, there should be a deal between the U.S. and Canada. Eric, I want to bring you in on something else we're also tracking coming in from the White House, saying that Trump will be meeting with trade team this week to set country tariff rates. Now, I ask you that because Trump also said on social media over the weekend that he will let Canada know in about a week's time on how they need to do trade with the U.S. And if we put all of this together, do you believe there are more tariffs coming in?
Well, we heard from the White House today that they said that they are now prepared to begin rolling out trade deals or announce trade deals with other countries, and that the president is actively working with a number of these nations. Now, Canada was not specifically named, but what we are seeing here is they do want to be able to put this on the table because, as we are seeing, President Trump continues to tout a growing economy that is doing robust throughout the nation, and he wants to be able to back that up with these trade deals, suggesting that the administration has used his signature economic policy tariffs to actually win massive concessions from countries all around the world. And I think that's what we've already begun to see with the president talking about the ongoing talks with both the UK as well as with China. Now, when it comes to Canada, clearly, I think this is deeply complicated, as it is with not only trade deals, but with other countries as well. So it's unclear what we're going to see from this administration between now and that deadline. But right now, what we're seeing, at least, is the White House is actually laying the groundwork that they believe they will have something to tout on a number of deals.
You know, this trade relationship between the Canada and the U.S. has been the envy of nations across the world, Eric, because of how easy trade has been between these two nations, the largest trading partners. And now we're talking about a fact when the president says that Canada, quote, is a very difficult country to trade with. The Prime Minister says these are extremely complex negotiations. Putting that into perspective, Eric, can we just one moment zoom out of the trade issue and see how complicated the relationship has become, or where the relationship stands at the moment between these two countries?
Well, look, the relationship is only difficult and complicated because you've got one side that's attempting to try attempting a hostile takeover of the other. We have to remember there has been seamless economic integration between the two nations for more than 60 years. And quite frankly, it's been beneficial and economically productive for both countries, to say nothing of consumers and its citizens on both sides of the border. But right now, this is becoming increasingly problematic because you've got one side that is now operating under a policy of economic warfare against the other. And I think that's going to continue to make this relationship not only very caustic, but also make it difficult to get some of just the basic parameters outlined because of where we are right now.
CTV News U.S. political analyst Eric Ham, appreciate you joining us on the program. Thanks for this, Eric.